is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked. We are continuing with our top 100 games of all time. Finally in the top 50. Ooh.
So all the rest of the games were crap.
Yeah, we
starting
literally,
to get
like, I
those.
just did the board game generator,
Yeah.
and I just, just did it 50 times, and were my 50 games. Luckily, I had known what they were. But Kat's not here.
She's at the gym.
Yeah, she's at the gym, being better than us. So,
Okay.
So let's get started with number 50. Oh, how many new games do you have?
Oh. Let's take a look at that now.
I have 5.
I
5 new games on this
have 2 new ones,
one. Okay.
but I have one really big jump one.
Okay.
So we'll get to that.
Okay, sexy. So, my number 50 is new to the list, and it will probably get higher the more I play it. But at the time of making this list, I hadn't played it that much, and that's Chronicles of Crime. Chronicles of Crime is the newest detective game that utilizes an app for pretty much the whole game. And what makes this game awesome is that a lot of it is through QR codes. And it also, the sceneries you can do in VR. You don't have to, but you can, so that makes it really cool, being able to look around, and while you're looking around, you describe what you're seeing, and the other players look through a deck of cards and find things that vaguely,
Right.
like if you're like, I see a knife, and they'll find melee weapon, because they're vague, because they have to, correspond to other scenarios. So you have that, and then when you're talking to people, you scan their code, and then you can be like, well, you can ask them about all the stuff that you found. So if you find a body, you can, like in the first scenario, which is like you can do for the demo, you scan him, and then you enter into an interrogation mode, and then you can scan the picture of the girl, and he can be like, and then he'll talk about her.
Interesting.
And what makes this awesome is, unlike Sherlock Holmes or Mythos Tales, or even like Detective, a modern crime board game, you actually have that dialogue. Whereas in, especially Sherlock Holmes and Mythos Tales, if you find out new information, you can't go back to someone and be like, hey, we found this out, what do you got? You can do that in this, which makes it awesome, which makes it feel like you're a detective, because as you get more information, you can go back and be like, okay, well, what can you tell me about this guy, or this item that we just found? It's just so innovative, and it's awesome. Like, I love it. And we did the first scenario, which was easy, and we, blew it out of the water. But I love these detective games. This is the third one, I think, that's on the list. And in all reality, they have it easy, because they can just do more and more expansions with it, because you don't have to write whole new books, or, you have to still write them and code it, but I feel like it's easier that way. So, and I'm all for apps in board games.
Right. Oh yeah. For sure.
I'm not that guy that's like, no, it's if you can do it well, then yeah, this is a fantastic game. So that's my number 50.
All right. My number 50.
Brand new, and it's at 50.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yep.
I haven't played it yet.
Do you like those detective games? I guess I've
mentioned
them 3 times, and I haven't even asked.
I haven't played a whole lot. I've never played Sherlock Holmes.
Okay.
I've never done that, but I like the noir.
Okay.
Cop thing. That's why I'm
the City of Angels.
City of Angels.
Okay.
One I'm interested, but I've always been interested in that too. It's just sold out everywhere.
Okay. Cool.
My number 50 is an oldie. Not super old. It's been out for a handful of years.
Okay.
And
it's like a year old.
It slipped from 32.
Okay.
And it's just because I don't play it a whole lot. It's not that I don't like any less.
Yeah.
But, it's Dead of Winter.
Yep.
It's one that I haven't played it probably in this entire year, to be honest with you. But it stays up there because I like zombies, and the crossroad card mechanism still is top notch in that. I haven't played Gen 7. I don't want to play Gen 7. I don't know what their next step will be. Because
better be to, you know how E.T., that Atari game, was thrown into landfills? That better be Gen 7. That should be their next step.
which is sad because Plaid Hat generally has the golden touch on stuff.
On a lot of the games, right?
And you know, and
I don't know. I don't know.
And they took forever making this game.
Yeah, that's the most frustrating part. I bet they were like, you know, they're like, oh, I bet they had it done because the way it plays and stuff, it feels like they made it in an hour.
Yeah.
And I bet they held on to it for years because, people are going to want the next, let's amp it up and then sell it for $100 and price scalp them because we're pieces of shit.
Well, Asmodee owns them now, so
that might be it too.
Possible.
Asmodee might be the EA of board games.
But anyway, but Dead of Winter, you know, it's I don't know, it hasn't happened on your list yet, right?
Nope.
Okay, it will. So it'll get talked about in another top 10, maybe in this top 10. But anyway, it's just a great game. I don't even have the Colony one, or the
Warren Colony, no.
And I don't have the Longest Night either.
Oh, that one is definitely.
I just have the Boys because I don't play it a ton, so it's like.
But when you do, you have the variety with the Long Night.
And I had it at one point, but I never used it.
Yeah, the Warring Colony I didn't get because I'm like, what, you need like 12 people?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck that.
I have my dice upgraded for it. I bought the Chessex, the frosted blue dice, so they look kind of like ice and stuff, and then I've splattered them with red paint.
Oh, you did that, okay.
Stuff.
That's
cool. So, you know, it's just kind of cool and stuff, but yeah, it's just a great game. The crossroads mechanic in that game.
Kat was very frustrated in Gen 7 because they didn't pop up as much, and I was like, well, you know, that's the crossroads part, is like, it's meant to just be an exciting thing because it did happen.
And I love playing with Felicia Day.
Oh, really?
Because I like those cards to fire. I love the crossroad cards firing because her ability, you remember?
No.
Her name, any card that has a name on it, she...
Oh, she replaces... Yeah, you're right.
So the crossroads are firing like crazy.
Yeah. I like how sparse they are because it makes every one of them exciting. If they happen all the time, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, that was my 50.
Cool. 49 is... It fell from 20, so it fell 29 spaces. And at this point, like, I know I've been saying, like, a lot of games have fallen off, and for the most part, it's true because so many good games have come out. Like, in my top 50, there weren't a whole lot of, like, rises.
Right.
But, my bottom 50, I guess, and in my top 50 now, it's all over the place. So, Onitama is, fell from 20. This is probably... It was definitely I think it was top 3 in my top 2-player games.
So, something like that.
It was very high, and Onitama is fantastic. I love this game. Basically, it's chess with just more to it. Even though chess has been around since forever. I just love how quick this game is. I love how easy it is to teach. I love that you know what your opponent can do, and you just have so much strategy because both of you have 2 really weird random move sets that everyone can do, and you only have 5 pieces on your side, and you can win 2 ways. One, kill your opponent's samurai, whatever, it's not the samurai, their king, or land your king on their throne. And you have super weird ones, like one can like hop 2 spaces and move back, and I can't remember, I think that's the tiger. Or one can move like, there's just really wonky. And what's cool about this is there's 2 and 2, and then you have 1 move in the middle. So whenever you play one and use it to move a piece, you swap it out with the one on the side. So you're going to constantly be cycling with your opponent on what they have. So when you're playing, you have to not only think about what can my opponent do, what can I do, you have to think about, do I want them to have this? I've had multiple games where I will freaking hold on to one ability because I'm like, it's not, I really want to use it, but I don't want them to use it.
Right.
Onitama is phenomenal. I haven't tried the new expansion, The Way of the Wind. I've heard that's exciting. I do plan on playing it soon.
And it had like just a piece out on the board.
It has a piece on the board. I don't know where Onitama is. It's up there. Yeah. I don't want to get it.
Yeah.
The Way of the Wind or Wind Spirit. That's a piece on the board that kind of messes with your pieces whenever you go near it or something. And I also have, while I was at Gen Con, the base game cards. I think there's 14 or 18 something. They're all gold. Like, so they had an upgrade for that, and I was like, yes. But I'm sad because they had another small box expansion which added just more cards. Those aren't gold, but I'm hoping they are at some point. But Onitama is still phenomenal. It's just
I've never played the physical version. I've played the iOS version.
Oh, okay.
So I know how the game plays.
Yeah.
And stuff. I just haven't.
Right.
Physical, you know.
right. All right, 49.
All right, my 49 is. It's in the, since there's been this board game renaissance, this would be kind of considered the granddaddy worker placement game that kind of stepped in this era of, it's been a lot of people's first one, and it's Lord's Waterdeep.
Oh, okay.
How like, it's not the first because there's like Stone Age and stuff like that were out earlier.
Right.
But a lot of people got into the hobby.
Theme.
Was like, okay, Lord's Waterdeep, and that gets a lot of people into it, and then they go from there.
Really, at 49?
Yes.
Wow.
Because I still like it. I mean,
yeah,
I have the little D&D-ples, the little shaped.
Yeah. I think I borrowed your copy.
Deals, maybe.
Whenever I played it, because I never played it at that time.
But and I would say base game, nah.
Yeah.
But when you throw in the Mountains of Madness and the Scoundrels of Skullport deal,
and
that whole deal is what makes this game stay here.
Did you say Mountains of Madness?
Not Mountains of Madness. It's the Mountains of Undermountain.
Okay.
The Undermountain. That's what it was. Sorry.
I'm like,
the Undermountain and
Scoundrels of Skullport.
But having that Skullport deal, because it just adds all these extra spots to go to. The Skullport deal, when you go in there, you're actually taking these skulls, which the more you have, the more negative points they're worth among everybody, and there's things that can put them back on. It's just, it adds enough complexity to it to shape stuff up. It was 40 last year, so it fell 9 spots.
Okay.
Mainly because of another worker placement that's on this list that kind of really overtook it.
Yeah, I've only played it once, and with the expansions, it was okay.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the D&D bulls help, but man, that game is so themeless. Yeah. Like, even it's just for me there's better worker placements.
Well, and I play tested the iOS app for it too, so I played it a ton when that was going on too and everything. So. It's just it's simple for people to learn. Like if you're like have people that you want to graduate from, like really base, like Ticket to Ride, so like that. So, hey, this is another type of mechanic. This is worker placement, and they don't have to have the themes. That's the thing with it. It's like this is Dungeons and Dragons, but if you want to say orange cubes, white cubes, black cubes, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah,
it gets them into that mechanic, and then you can move them on to Champions of Midgard or stuff like that.
That's true.
So it's just one of those. It'll probably always be around on this list, just because it's a good staple. Yeah.
Okay. 48, which I already know is brand new to the list, and this one, it's Detective, a modern crime board game. Onitama will probably, like Chronicles and Detective, will probably just keep moving up, and I like Detective more at this time. Because I like the real intensive strategy. Chronicles of Crime has that, but it is lighter. And with Detective, it feels like an intense, because Sherlock Holmes is brain-burning, and so this feels like that, but ramped up, and it's modern. So what Detective does is they actually made a website that integrate all these, because everything's code-based, so whenever you go to a scene and you get a card, it's like you find a handgun with this fingerprints, and it gives you a code. You go to that on the website, find the fingerprint spot, enter in the code, and it tells you who it is, and it gives you a database on who this guy is, and then you can potentially go and talk to him if he's still alive, or, which he probably would be, but then you go and talk to him, and then you can interrogate him, and you go through these questions, and he kind of explains the situation. And what they do for the interrogation is they do it's called LSL, MSL, and HSL, which is like low, medium, and high stress level. So whenever he says like, I was actually with my mom that day, and it says HSL, he's very high stress, which means he's lying.
Right, that's cool.
So that's how you can kind of read it. And there's so much, this game is so thematic. that because it's modern and you have a laptop and you have your phone, because there's times where if it shows a little Wi-Fi symbol, that means you can Google it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can just go to Google and type in the underlying keyword to find out, you know, what they're talking about, which will give you more insight. So you really feel like you have your phone and your laptop trying to interrogate these people, do detective work, and man, is it brain birdie. We did okay on our first scenario, but it was like about I guess spoilers, but it was about a pocket watch showed up, you know, in a museum that was missing for years. And we were like, this is fucking stuff. Thanks, boss. You gave us this scrub-ass case. And it spiraled into this whole big thing, which by the end of it, I was like, oh, that was awesome. So, it's just so good. And the writing, and it's from Portal Games, so this is surprising. The writing is really well done.
Right.
It makes you feel like you're there. Because whenever you go into the forensic scientist's office, and you walk in and it'll be like, oh, you see Kathy, and that was the third time you've been there today, and she's like, hey, you're back again, and you feel like you've actually visiting.
Right.
So, I love it. It's going to depend on, you know, which one I end up playing more, because they're super close. I mean, 48 to 50 between the two. Onitama just barely beat out Chronicles of Crime, but it's probably they're gonna be like neck and neck.
Right.
So that's my 48 Detective, a modern crime board game.
My 48 is a small game from Floodgate Games. And it actually stayed the exact same as it was last year.
Really?
Oh wait, nope, I lied.
Oh, you suck.
It fell one spot.
Well, it sucks now.
So it's yeah.
It's
and
hot garbage.
It is Vault Wars.
Yep.
I played this for the first time with Robert. He had his copy that he'd gotten at Gen Con.
That's right, because we played. We
Right.
we didn't play test it.
Right. But pretty much just think the TV show Storage Wars, only with fantasy theme.
Yeah.
Because you have one person that's the auctioneer, and they are, you know, everybody puts out a vault to start with. You get one picked out, and then the auctioneer gets to see everything that goes into that vault, and then he gets to set the starting price. He could be bluffing. He could be whatever. Because what happens is when he sets the starting price, that's it. You get one. He gets the one deal. If nobody bids, then the auctioneer gets the locker.
Yep.
But
he has to pay for it, right?
No,
he doesn't.
No, I don't believe so. I don't know. But the only way you get actually you do. You have to pay the money you set. You pay the money that you set. So if you put $9,000 and if nobody bids, you pay $9,000, you get it.
Yeah.
But it's like I said, it's a bluff because you could set be like this and be like, oh man, $10,000, and there could be just garbage.
Yeah, straight up.
And then people start getting around and start bidding, and then whoever wins gets the stuff. But then the auctioneer gets all that money.
Yep.
And that's how you gain money. That's the big way to gain money. When you're the auctioneer, you try to, you don't want to overbid because it is hard to get money. You can take loans and all that crap. But it had the cool deluxe. It has like the metal coins.
Which I don't have.
You didn't get the deluxe? I thought you did.
I thought I did too, but the fucker lied to me.
Oh, really?
So I'm gonna have to find his house and beat him up.
But anyway,
I don't remember. I could easily buy metal coins.
Right. Oh yeah. But anyway, it's just really neat, you know, because you go through and you're collecting stuff, and then you have variable player powers because at the beginning of the game you choose what avatar you are, and then they have their own ability. Like this guy, there's like the trash guy. He wants to collect garbage. The more garbage he has, the more points it's worth. So there's the other one that likes to collect elven goods. So you're always looking for the keyword elvish or dwarf or whatever. It's really neat because you don't know what's in there.
Yeah, it's a neat theme too.
Yeah, and it's just unique, and it was neat to take the Storage Wars theme. I mean, you get a lot of the you know, it's like, and it's just you can really play it up as a real auction if you want to.
And vaults have unique abilities.
Yeah, and the vaults have different stuff, and it can be a long game, depending on how well you know how you do it and stuff, but. It's fun because
I like
it's a social game. Everybody's sitting around.
I forgot about Vault Wars.
Yeah.
So I was trying to see if it was anywhere on my list.
Yeah.
It might have. It'd be way high.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean,
I
it
really
definitely
like
wouldn't
it.
be 48.
Yeah, it's a great game.
But yeah, I mean that's the thing. Floodgate Games, they find those unique themes. They have one called, I think it's like Fantasy Resort or something like that. And you're making.
Oh, Epic Resort.
That's it.
Yeah.
You're making a resort. They have another one where it's about like leaves, falling leaves. That's their latest Kickstarter. And then their party game, News at 11.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Floodgate Games is awesome. So, 47.
This is where they start getting good.
Exactly, yeah, 47. That's the hard selling. It fell from 30, so 17 spaces.
Maybe not.
No, it literally is, and this will probably, unless I start playing it, is probably going to continue to fall.
Yeah.
But it's Mechs versus Minions.
Yeah.
So
it's hard for those one-time playthrough games to stay high on a list.
Yeah, because I've done the whole series on the channel. Go check it out. It's a blast. This game, so first of all, probably one of the highest production qualities out there. I remember, I think Tom Vassell and Sam were arguing about...
Sam doesn't think it's all that.
It is! It is, though. The insert's amazing.
Yeah.
The minis are amazing. Granted, there are different sculpts, but most of them, they're just scrub. Zelda, what are you doing?
I scratched it.
Right. They are just scrub minis, but they didn't have to be, detailed like that. The 4 minis you got didn't have to be painted. So... It's just, it is the card quality, the cardboard, everything is awesome. Metal things, the hourglass, it's just, everything is top notch.
I think Sam was just trolling.
He might have been, or he might have been serious, because his thinking is, well, it's not as good as Mythic Battles. It's like, it might not be. However,
he was looking at it.
Yeah, but however, it is because Mechs vs. Minions is $70, not $600. Right. So, well, for what you pay for, and the only reason it's like this is because Riot Games, they're like, sure, we just want to make a game
with $100 bills.
Yeah. So anyway, that's just a plus, the component quality and the price point. But the programming is awesome. Like you have your mech that you are programming, and each card you can level up to a level 3 to make them do awesome things, and you are going to constantly be changing your mech to work out the kinks and have it work in these different scenarios. Even though it wasn't like a hard, it was a campaign because it did story base, and it slowly gave you higher level powers that you got to pick. It was just a blast. It's this high because those 10 games were so much fun, and I have played it once after I was done with that. I did the first scenario again. And it was still fun. So it's probably going to keep falling because since I bought your copy, I have not even opened it.
Yeah.
It's up there.
Yeah.
And I want to play this because I want my friends who haven't played that game to go through it because it's a blast. However, it's just we have actual stronger campaigns to play. So
many campaign games.
Exactly. So it's like I want to do the one I haven't done versus the one I have, but even then you can just pop open and be like, oh, let's do scenario 6. Sure.
Yeah.
And it's not going to change anything. So 47 Mechs vs. Minions.
My 47 is new to the list.
Okay.
And
is it a new game?
No.
Okay.
No, it was new to me this year.
Okay.
But it is it's going to really, really quickly move up the list. I just did it here because I've only played it the one time.
Gotcha.
With you.
Did you really put...
No.
Okay.
No.
You just immediately changed it?
No, it's Spirit Island.
Oh, yes. That makes me happy.
Yeah, Spirit Island is... It's going to go... It will probably... I could see it hitting top 10 before the end. I just need to play it more.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I only played the one time. I want to try the other powers. I want to, with
Which one did you have?
I had the big, tree guy.
Yeah, that's right.
I was, dropping vines and all kinds of stuff. But I want to try those other ones. I just got that one expansion. The whatever it's called. Branch and Claw.
Oh, Branch and Claw.
I just got that one.
That one's interesting.
The Kickstarter. I got the Jagged Earth thing going to be coming.
Yes.
They So I mean, it's just great. I like co-op games. I can play it solo. It'd be kind of hard. So it's going to be really.
It's gonna be hard
because you can play with 2 deals, but it's a lot of stuff you'd have to.
Oh, you just
track
do
of.
2 things, but in one spirit.
Oh no, I would do 2 spirits.
Oh, okay.
You know,
I think solo though is 2 boards
Oh really?
and 1 spirit.
Oh, I would probably just play it like just like
That'd
maybe.
be hard.
I know, but it's one of those things you just set it up, you play.
All right. Well,
you know.
the only reason I'm saying it's hard is because that game requires so much cooperative integration,
Yeah.
which is why I think it's one of the top tier co-op games.
Mhm.
Because unlike Pandemic, where it's like, do this is the best option.
Right.
Yeah, like there's a lot. It's like, what should we do?
Yeah.
Well, we have 10 things we should do, and they're
Yeah.
all valid.
Yeah. It's we pretty much. I think we won. That first one.
I think we had to quit early.
Yeah, but I mean, we were on track.
We were
had
doing
it.
well.
I mean, I know it.
We were doing well.
Because didn't Kat play with us too? I think
Yeah,
the 3 of
yep.
us.
It was us 3, and we were doing okay. But it whenever you feel like you get ahead, then the invasion go, and you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah. But I just like. I mean, the ability to. I guess I should say what. You are spirits, and you are trying to.
You're on an island.
You're on you're spirits. You're on an island, but there's colonists coming in, and you're trying to kill / scare them away.
Yeah, you scare them by killing them.
Right, and your spirits are really unique things. You know, the forests, the shadows.
Shadows that flicker like flame.
Yeah, there's just a lot of really cool spirit things, and but you have really cool abilities, and you can power up your stuff. You each have your own deck, right? You have your own deck of
You
cards,
start
right?
off. Each spirit has
do.
unique powers, but for the most part, this is my one complaint with it. They have a deck of powers that you can get, and when you get new powers, you draw those, and those aren't unique to you. I wish each spirit had a unique deck.
Right.
Versus, because if I'm the Shadows of Flicker like Flame, I can get an Earth spirit
that's
power.
true.
And it's like, that doesn't...
The thing with this game, though, another thing is, like, anytime I saw pictures from afar of this, I really was like,
shit.
Yeah, because it's like, you see the discs and you see the stuff, but then when you, like, really get close to it, and you see they actually have the tiny little colonist figures and the houses. And
they're still made pretty bad.
So it's still made bad, but it's neat. Like they didn't have to do that. They could have just thrown cubes on there.
That's true.
And stuff too. So
and the artwork for the power cards and the spirits is really good.
Yeah. And you can get some pretty mean ass combos with your other cooperative teammates because you get
some of them
suck
are
them all
actually
in one spot and then boom.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because you have like. As you can tell, this is higher on my list.
No.
But it's like because if normally you're the colonists, like in most games, fighting against things like this, but if you mindset it to where if this was you, if you were a colonist, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Like one of our very first games that I played this with, I was able to do a fast ability with the Shadows of Flicker like Flame and scare the colonists into the water, and in Kat's ability drowned them.
Yeah.
So it's like you just terrified them enough that they drowned. It's horrifying.
Pretty morbid when you think about it.
Yeah, when you think of it from the colonist side, they're like, hey, we're in my family, I got my kids, my new baby, and oh my god, a branch went through her skull. And you're terrified.
Yeah, so it's just
I can't wait
cool.
for the jagged.
It's very creative.
The Jagged Earth one, doesn't it add... does it add a campaign? No, I don't think so.
I think it adds another board.
It adds like a bunch of new spirits and a broken token insert and
which I didn't go far enough to get the insert.
I totally did. I'm getting everything.
Yeah.
All right, so 46.
Yes, Spirit Island.
Sorry.
Wonderful game.
46. This may actually shock you. My 46. And at the time, I was playing this game a lot. Like I dove headfirst into it. I've since receded back and I've chilled out. This is new to the list.
Oh, well, I like that.
It is new to the list. It is not a new game though.
Is it Magic?
It is Magic.
Okay.
Magic the Gathering is my 46, which for anyone who's fans of the channel who have been watching it, I used to hate Magic. I used to hate deck construction, and I got into Magic with Commander. which, if you don't know what Commander is you have a card that is your Commander that stays off on the sideboard, and it's 100 card decks, or 99 with your Commander.
Right.
But you can only have one of each card in the deck, and so it just allows for a lot of like really cool combos instead of Modern, which is a very quick try and kill your opponent as quickly as possible. So Magic the Gathering, I've done a discussion, but it has since become something for me that I excel at. Like, I come up with like really weird things that I'm trying to do for decks, and now my friends are getting into Modern, and I don't want to pay $700 for a competitive, and I don't want to be competitive with Magic anyway, because those people are toxic. It's like Magic players and Overwatch players are like one of the most toxic communities. However, I'm probably just gonna proxy out a Modern deck just to play with my friends, and hey, okay, this deck sucks, and I can just throw the cards away.
Right.
So it's just it has been so much fun, and I went like I had like 7 Commander decks. I was spending a lot of money. Then it like all of a sudden clicked where I was like, this never ends. You literally just keep buying. And so I just stopped, and then I have 3 decks now. I sold all my cards except these 3 decks, and I'm just playing with those.
Yeah.
And if I want to keep making decks, I'll proxy out decks and cards and stuff
Right.
like that. So yeah, I mean, at 46, this probably will continue to fall, but right now I'm thinking it's at a good number. It's this high because I was so into it at that time, but I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see where Magic falls in the future.
All right. Well, my 46, I'm going to go from a CCG card game where you spend a ton of money to be competitive to a game that is collectible that you spend $10 for a deck.
It's Keyforge your 46.
Keyforge
That's
is my 46.
hilarious.
So
Richard Garfield,
yeah,
like, is
exactly.
apparently a 46er. Makes me feel
any of
good.
you consistent watchers know that Netrunner was my thing for several years.
Yep.
And with it ending, at least as far as FFG is concerned, I've been searching for that.
Who owns it?
Who, Keyforge?
Android.
Oh.
Netrunner.
Android Netrunner is a WotC. The mechanics are WotC. The theme, the Android theme is FFG.
So why'd they cancel it?
Because WotC's the mechanics contract ran up, and I think they're trying to. Here's my deal. Sidebar, real quick. I think that it's going to be announced this year. Like, we were making predictions for 2019, you know, all that stuff. I think that WotC has the license for the new video game, Cyberpunk 2099 or whatever.
20 by Wizards of the Coast by
It's the
CD
video
Projekt Red.
Whatever.
Oh yeah.
But I think WotC has that agreement with the license, and I think they made the price so high for FFG to keep that because they wanted it themselves, and I think they're going to slap the Cyberpunk deal onto those mechanics because it's their system.
That would be very interesting. They'd have to work with CD Projekt Red. That's the company who's making that game.
I think they just need the theme
Yeah.
on it because
Yeah.
I mean the game's already there.
Yeah.
You know, it's just putting the theme to the cards.
Yeah, right.
That's my out there prediction. But anyway, Netrunner left. I've been looking for a kind of competitive thing to take over. I looked at one of the previous lists. I talked about Warhammer, Age of Sigmar Champions. That one's not going to catch on.
Yeah.
But then Keyforge came up, and it's $10 or $15, depending on where you buy it and everything.
Or it's
for
$400
for a deck. And that's just stupid. Anybody that buys a
I know
full deck is dumb because every deck has something that can do. I know some are better than others, but there's always going to be the gougers out there whenever the Horseman decks or any of that pop out and people are spending a fortune on decks that aren't really that good. But anyway, I have 26 decks at home right now. because I bought a case. I bought 2 cases of decks, 12-pack deals, and you just buy them and you open them and you play that deck. You cannot mix the cards. You cannot do anything. They all have unique names. They all have unique card backs. They all are completely unique. You can't mix or deck build, which makes it the antithesis of Magic, because
that's so funny.
It's just cheap. You know, you have somebody that wants to learn the game. Hey, $10, you can play. You're in. You know, and they can do really cool stuff with that, because one of the things, once it gets saturated enough with content, because people keep buying it up, is to have sealed tournaments.
Yep.
So you pay $15 to enter a tournament. You get a deck. You open it. You play that deck.
Yep.
It takes because at Netrunner, a player like me could just run over anybody that was just learning the game.
Yeah.
With this, you're at the mercy of whatever deck you open.
Yeah.
Or whatever deck you play.
Yeah.
You know, and
I wonder if that's why he made this game like that, because
I don't know.
If he, because obviously it's Richard Garfield,
Right.
so Magic and stuff like that. Like you can't. Because there's a Magic tournament coming up in April that has, like, I think it's an $80 entry point. If you win, if you get 10th place, it's like $10,000, and you go to whatever.
Right.
And I'm obviously not going to that. However, I wonder if he knows that that's the community, and it's like, well, I mean, because with Magic, the most expensive deck is usually the better deck. Like, you can have a really good cheap deck, but just by sheer amount, the cards they cost what they cost.
Right.
For a reason. So with Keyforge, I wonder if he tried to cull that is like, hey, you can't pay to win.
Right.
Now, you can get lucky and get a better deck, because it's a random algorithm.
And you can still pay to win if you. I mean, you can buy decks that have.
But at a tournament,
cards. No, not at
that's
a tournament
what I mean.
like that, unless it's a tournament where you bring your own deck.
Right,
Because
but the sealed one that you're talking about, I think,
totally
is he's like, hey, I don't want this
Right.
pay-to-win thing. You can't do that
Right.
in a sealed.
The cool thing with
Which
it,
would be
though,
cool if that was his
is every deck has 3 houses. There's 7 houses total in the game, and you have to declare what house at the beginning of your turn, and then you can play as many cards of that house as you want. There's no cost to play the cards. So if you had 8 Mars cards in your hand and you called Mars, you could play every single one of them damn things, because then at the end of your turn you always draw back up to 6. You know, or 7 depending on your
chain.
If you have Mother.
Or your chain.
And chains, which chains are...
Those
so,
are.
yeah, what's really neat about this, though, is there is online support. Like, you can play it online, Crucible.com, so you can just upload your deck, play it. There's also they just added the sealed format, so you can actually play sealed online against other people.
That's neat. I didn't know.
But they have the app, which you can upload your decks to the app, and then you can keep tracks of wins and losses. You can look at stuff. When you go to a tournament, your house card or your person, the back is the deck list.
Yeah.
So at tournaments, you actually exchange and look at the deck lists. That's part of it. So you get to look and see what they have, so you can plan.
I think they do that in Magic.
Yeah.
Tournaments as well.
So it's just really neat. And you could go overboard like me and have 26 decks, but I have that many because if the game ever gets to be low in amount again, I can still host a tournament.
Yep.
I can randomly just give somebody a deck and say, hey, there's your deck, here's your deck, here's your deck. This is how we play the game, and teach them. You know, it's a lot different because Netrunner at that time, you know, when I was teaching John, he went and bought all the Netrunner stuff to get caught up to where I was and spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then the game gets canceled, which is kind of,
which is humorous.
Yeah.
So there's 2 big complaints I have with Keyforge.
Yes. See if I can correct them.
And maybe you can.
Yeah.
And I hope my negatives, because I love the idea of Keyforge. Before I start with this, Keyforge is 115 for me. So at least it's still near the thing, but it didn't jump to 46. Biggest complaint is probably that a lot, and this was actually in Shut Up and Sit Down's review, was there is no player interaction really. Well, there is, but a lot of it is my turn, boom, your turn. I wait. Great, you destroyed everything. I can't stop. I can't cancel. I can't counter.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna steal Aether. I can't. No, I can't counter any of that. So I just have to sit there. Because like you said, 8 Mars cards. Great, boom, they're all here. Awesome. Most creatures, unless they have whatever it's called, haste is my thing. They have summoning sickness, so they're there. You can't use artifacts. You can't use anything. Great. okay, now it's your turn, and you play some card that just wipes all creatures, and it's like,
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
I can't stop you.
Well, the good thing about this though, and I don't disagree, but if you're playing that many cards, you're always drawn back up to 6.
Yeah.
Most of the time. You get through that. It's a 36 card deck.
Yeah.
You usually reshuffle the deck and keep going.
Right.
It's not like a normal, because you can't do that in Magic.
No, you mill if you can't draw.
Right, and you don't do that in any other deal. So like,
right.
you just fly through your deck. If
right.
it wipes it, keep
yeah,
keep
but
rolling.
at the same time, you're still not doing anything.
Right, and if they're wiping, then that means they're not forging, too. So I mean,
right.
it's I think it's a beautifully designed game because there is, and I've went through the card lists of every card in this first set, and I mean I know you don't have control if it's in your deck or not,
right?
But every powerful card has its kryptonite,
has its downsides.
So there's the chance, there is every card has that.
Yeah,
and it's just.
But still, if you're getting your stuff destroyed,
right?
And I mean, because I it didn't help that the first game I played when I got it, where there were two I call control decks, which is basically not letting you do anything.
Right.
They were both that, so I was constantly destroying his stuff. He was constantly destroying my stuff. I was stealing,
right.
Ember, and it was just, and that sucks in Magic,
right?
Because it just draws the game out. However, if I'm playing a bunch of stuff and you can just wipe it, I'm still not gaining the advantage, and while you still do.
One of my I'll end this because we've talked about this a long time.
Right.
One of my favorite decks to play has this card called Soul Snatcher. That's an artifact, and you play it down, and every time something dies, its owner gains amber. That much amber. So what I did is it has tons of creatures in this deck. So I lay it down, and I even have a board wipe by myself.
Oh.
So I will just puke out creatures, and if they clear it, I get a shit ton of amber. If I decide to clear it, I get a shit ton of amber.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the kind of things that counterbalance.
Right, and then
board wipes.
Not
every deck's going to have it, though.
Correct,
and that's the thing.
And that's my other complaint, which is why Magic is superior to me, is because you can come with that combo. That's an awesome combo. I love that idea. I can't do that.
Right.
So great, you got lucky.
Right, but
awesome.
that's why it's a 10. I mean, any competitive card game,
right,
like that, you deck build. This takes the deck building out of it.
Right.
And that's why it's a $10 buy-in.
That's true. So and that is a good thing because I sold everything that I had for it. And I was like, okay, well, if my friends here want to get into it, great. It's an easy buy-in. The second complaint I have, and we'll wrap this up, I just think it's really funny that we had Magic and Keyforge and the same thing. The second one, which since you've read every card in this set list, you might be able to dispute. But in my experience, there's no interaction really between houses. So if I go, like, for example, like I can't, a good example is there's one called, it's like Soft Landing, which is the next creature or artifact you play comes ready.
Right.
It's a Mars card, so I can only play another Mars card.
Right.
I can't
Soft Landing. There is something.
Okay, I'm like, because I can't play Soft Landing and then play a Brobnar Badass that comes out and ready.
Yeah, there's a card that lets you play next card you play from anher house.
Okay, so see, and I think over time, if this takes off like it is, they'll fix those. He has to add counters. He has to add house integration. So other than that, those were my two biggest complaints.
And what's cool too is the Maverick concept. I don't know if you know what a Maverick is in this game. There are Mavericks all over the place. They're rare, and I have a couple of them. That it's a card from one house that is actually part of another house. So, like, let's say it was Bait and Switch. Do you know what that card is? Or let's say Soft Landing. Let's say Soft Landing. That card could be in Sanctum. And it'll have the same art, but it'll have the border of Sanctum, and it'll have like a little Maverick deal. So those are scattered throughout this whole card set. So, you could play it during Sanctum and play, stuff too. So they have those scattered, and it kind of puts the variation in it, because you don't know, like, oh crap, this guy has this board wipe card, but he doesn't have Dis. He doesn't have Gateway to Dis, but it's in Brobnar.
See, and I think that they need more of that. They just need more, because Cat's complaint was, why do I have 3 houses when I can really only use 1?
Right. And that's the strategy of it too, because you're puking out creatures, but then you don't have any of that deal in your hand. You're not playing anything, so it's either you don't reap or fight with these and to get more stuff out, It's a well
Yeah.
designed
Do
game.
you think that this will go up for you, or do you think it's kind of gonna hover around?
Right now, it could go up
Okay.
because it's my competitive card game,
That's fair.
and you knew where Netrunner was.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
I mean it just depends.
Yep.
I've been going to tournaments every other
Yeah,
week.
just let me
and stuff,
know, because
so-
those are my biggest complaints.
Yep.
If they fix it, then I can get into it, because other than that, I thought it was a lot of fun.
And that is your Keyforge hour.
45 fell from 39, so it fell 6 spaces. And unfortunately, it will probably keep falling unless I can get this goddamn game to the table. And my 45 is 7 Wonders. So
oh my lord!
what?
I love that game.
I love it too. I really do. However, it never gets to the table.
Yeah.
Ever. And I don't know why. Like, every single time, like, I kid you not, I'm like, I'm gonna play 7 Wonders today. Where my friends are coming over. Nope. I never set it up.
Have you played Armada?
No, it's right
I see it
there.
up there.
And
I haven't played
have
with
not
Armada
played.
yet either. I bought it, but
It's like, I think funny enough, what we ended up doing, because I was gonna set up 7 Wonders, I even had it off the shelf. And we played Paper Tales. And I don't like Paper Tales more than 7 Wonders. However, Paper Tales is easier to teach new people.
Yeah, less icons maybe. Because I haven't played Paper Tales.
Paper Tales is fine. It was my 112. So it might go up a little
It's
bit.
one I think my wife would probably like it because she loves card drafting and making.
Yeah,
stuff.
and it's easier. However, 7 Wonders is so iconic. It is a brilliant drafting system. There's multiple paths to victory. And my favorite thing, and Paper Tales does this as well, is, except not too much, because Paper Tales you're literally only fighting one another. But in 7 Wonders, you can trade resources. And hey, I'll give you, I can't remember, it's been a long time, but I can give you gold and
Pay
use
money
your
to
resource.
and just your neighbors.
Yeah, just your neighbors.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and you only fight with your neighbors.
Yeah.
And there's no number system, it's just, I have more military icons than you, so I'm going to get some points and you'll lose some points.
It's not crucial.
Yeah, but in a 4-player game, which I like 7 Wonders at 4, I think that's where it should cap.
Yeah.
Because...
I'll tell you in a second what my thing is.
Okay, so in 4 players, I only care about you, and I'll never mess with you. And it's just diagonal, where you never mess with one another. And I think that's easier to manage, drafting is easier. I love the Leaders expansion, which give you unique abilities. I love the Cities expansion. It's so good. And I hate how I can't get it to the table.
I just got the anniversary packs for Cities. And Leaders,
I got those not too long ago. And the Babel expansion is you don't like Babel?
I do.
You do? Yeah, the Babel expansion just creates laws that you're building up the Tower of Babel, which I think is really cool. But and I remember I played this like probably over 2 years ago.
Uh-huh.
That's how long it's been. But my friends I played it with at that time they really like it, and I really just need to set it up.
Yeah.
But this fucking channel prevents me from getting back to these games.
Yeah. I will tell you that
I love it. I love you guys.
I love 7 Wonders at all player counts, and especially love it because it goes up to 7 players. Because it's such a simple game, no downtime, everybody's playing at the same turn. I mean, how many 7-player games can you play that there's no downtime?
Twilight Imperium.
Well,
I'm totally kidding. There's a shit.
Right? No, I'm just saying, everybody.
I know.
You play a card, pass a card. Play a card.
Yeah,
pass a
no,
card,
I know.
And the thing about that is, and I agree with the being able to trade and only attack your neighbors. But to me, what makes that awesome is it makes it more world, because you only really in the ancient times you really only dealt with people close to you.
Oh, absolutely.
So you don't have to worry about battling the people that are on another continent. So I think it's kind of neat because everybody's it's like a chain of neighbors, and it makes it more worldly to me, and I love it for that. The design of that game is.
It is so good, and I'm excited to play Armada. What bums me out though is I have the 7 Wonders broken token insert.
I do too.
And it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit Armada.
I know.
That bums me out.
Yeah.
But so that's my 485. It only fell 6 spaces, so that's still pretty good. And
it might be on my list later.
So that's that.
All right, my number 45 is a jump from. Oh my God, it looks like it's
Jump from
about
number 1.
80 spots up.
Oh, jumped 80 up?
81 up.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it
was there an
81
expansion out?
spots. No.
Really?
It's just because I hadn't played it very much back in the day. It was 126, I believe.
Damn.
I love worker placement. You've played this because you borrowed it. This is actually what people call a granddaddy
Stone Age?
worker placement game.
I was like,
I played it with my family, and they loved it. Like my wife took onto it, and that's one of her favorites now. Like, and that's what puts it.
Are you
for
getting
me
the
too.
10th anniversary or whatever?
I don't know. I haven't looked at it a whole
I
lot.
would get it just for the winter board. That's cool.
But it's just I've played the app a ton. It's just such a good game. You have the math part in it.
Mm-hmm.
There's dice manipulation for when you do collect resources and do stuff. It's just a great game.
Yeah.
And I like the art for it. The components are nice. The leather dice cup that you get to use, and the wooden
It smells like a
dice
jock strap.
Yeah. I don't
Which
have
is
the expansion.
hot.
The expansion is hard to get. It's kind of out of print and stuff, but it's just a great game. You know.
Yeah.
It's.
I don't think I have it anywhere on.
Yeah, I don't know if you liked it as much.
It was okay.
Yeah. It's just,
like I didn't hate it. If anyone was like, "Oh, do you want to play Stone Age?" I'd be like, "Yeah."
And I think that's what I liked about it, because a lot of worker placement games is you're gonna be like, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna get my 2 wood and my stone. I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna get my 3 wood. You know, it's like you do that stuff. But with this, you just don't know. You're like putting out your workers and be like, okay, I'm gonna roll 3 dice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to divide by 5. How much of this
Yeah.
am I actually gonna get? You know, it adds just a little bit of press your luck to see if you get the amount of stuff and everything. Plus, it has a love hut. I mean,
It does have a love hut.
You know?
I mean, your copy was kind of sticky, and I don't know why.
Yeah,
but
you know why.
Going back a little bit, you like Seven Wonders with 2 players?
7 Wonders Duel.
Okay.
I don't play 7 Wonders with 2 players.
Okay.
I just would
Then
play
you
7
lied
Wonders
to
Duel.
them. You said you love it with all player counts.
Well,
And there's a
it's-
2-player variant.
It's a
and you
variant.
both control.
It's a variant. There's the word for you.
All right. 44. My 44 fell from 27. So 17 spaces. This is still a solid game. Like I said, a lot of good games that came out. And this is Imperial Settlers.
Oh, yes.
Imperial Settlers is a phenomenal... would you call this a civ building game?
I would.
Yeah. So a
A
phenomenal
light one.
civ building
I mean,
game.
it's-
Very light one because, I mean, well, more or less because you control a... I was going to say species. A... What faction. There we go.
Yeah.
I was thinking tribe. I'm like, that's not right either. A faction throughout history, and you are just trying to build up buildings that will get you abilities and resources to either trade with your neighbors or attack your neighbors and destroy their stuff and get points. And what makes this game great is multiple reasons. One, there's a bunch of factions out now. I have not played the newest one.
I don't even own the Amazon one yet.
Okay, I do own it, and they're all in there, and I need to get this. There's so many games I just need to get on the channel.
Yeah.
But my favorite one so far is the Atlanteans. I think I really like.
I like the the
Atlanteans. They were different.
Yeah.
The Aztecs I'm not too keen on. I have played them.
the prayer. They use all the prayer.
They did.
stuff,
They were
but-
weird.
Yeah.
But what's cool about this is each faction is completely different because there's a big stack of just basic buildings that people can buy.
Mhm.
But then each faction has their own deck of only faction buildings. And you have your little tableau and your 3 different things, which I do really like on the artwork, that the roads will connect.
Yes.
To them.
That's an awesome.
It's aesthetically
Yeah.
pleasing, but you have your basic ones on the right side that you can raise and you can destroy, and those are the ones that can be attacked, and you get a wood for compensation if they're attacked, and your opponent gets more. But then you have your factions off on the side that are completely left alone, which is nice because in a lot of civ building games, the biggest annoyance is you spend, I mean, in Civilization, you spend, 6 hours and it could just be destroyed and thrown on the ground. This one, it can't. Yeah, you can get some buildings and some pretty good ones destroyed, but your faction ones are always safe. Unless you're the Japan faction, which those can be destroyed, and they're all worth points for whoever destroys them, so you're a target to literally everyone.
Yeah, I like playing Japan.
I refuse to play them. However, but there's, like I said, just completely different with their factions. I've heard the Amazons is a really good faction to play, and I have actually played this relatively recently, so it holds up. I've not played 51st State, but...
That's what I was going to ask you if you had played it, because it does the same art style where you put the cards.
Right.
It does the exact same thing.
Right.
The remastered, because it used to be 51st State wasn't the same layout as Imperial Settlers until they came out with the master set.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't like post-apocalyptic that well, so this also kind of has cheaply art. Not really, but like they're all like little cute.
Have you ever deck built for this
I have
game?
not.
I haven't
and
either.
I have no interest in doing so.
I keep buying those little packs, I just never use the damn cards, except for solo play. Like, I do play this game solo.
Okay.
So I will use some of the cards out of that for solo play.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Which is really cool solo. It's a beat your own point. You just take it on the barbarians.
Gotcha.
And stuff.
Yeah, I've not done the deck building. I did buy the little packs. I do like the Why Can't We Be Friends, which is like adds open production, so people can give you people for work. So I like that. Adds a little bit more player integration. I took out the 3, whatever 3 is the magic number.
Yeah.
That one was just annoying. So I took all those out, and then there's another one. We Can't Start the Fire.
Yeah, that's the newest one.
Yeah, I haven't tried that yet.
I don't think I have that one yet.
So Imperial Settlers is just phenomenal. They're smart because they can just keep adding factions, and you're good. So that's my 44.
All right, my number 44 moved up 4 spaces.
Okay.
And I don't think you've played this before. You've heard me talk about it a few times. It is a little card game version of a bigger game. It's called Thebes: The Tomb Raiders.
Yeah,
Thebes was the main game. It's a big, grandiose board. It has a bag with all these tiles, and you're drawing stuff out of the bag, and it could be dirt, it could be hidden jewelry and gems and stuff. What this does is it turns it into a little card game. So there's a board out front, and you're doing and there's like either civilizations, so there'll be a whole stack of cards in the civilizations that you'll make lines of, and as you go digging, you take some of the cards from that. Some of them may be dirt, some of them may be actual stuff. But what's cool about this game is it uses the time mechanic, where you, on the time track, or I guess not time track, it's the scoring track. As you score, whoever's in last place, I guess they're synonymous, the time and the points. But whoever's in last goes. So if they take a 1-point movement, they get to go again.
Yep.
So it's whoever's in the last place goes. So if you take a really big movement and move up, it may be a while before you take another turn.
Yeah.
It's got set collection. It's a lot more streamlined of a version of the big Thebes game, and it just goes over really well with my family.
Yeah.
My wife still kicks my ass at it, but it's just that time mechanic was cool in that sort of a game. I know there's other games that use that now. Like Australia does.
Brigadiers and Browncoats did that, and that was the first time I saw it, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah, but this was a good game. It's got neat little art. It's a pretty sweet little card game.
Awesome.
Queen games.
Awesome. 43 fell from 22, so it has fallen 21 spaces due to just lack of play. This is a game that you are very hesitant to play because you think it's going to be the most complicated game in the world.
Anachrony or Carrion?
No, but those are good guesses. Alchemist.
Oh, okay.
You were close though with Anachrony. You looked right up at it. It's literally right above it.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Alchemist is a phenomenal game. One of the first games I played that had an app. And in Alchemist, it is by CGE. So it's hilarious, and the rulebook is hilarious, and it's simple mechanics, but deep gameplay, if that makes any sense. You are an alchemist, and you are trying to create the best potions to then sell to warriors and create theories on. based off the alchemical compound for like certain ingredients, and then you publish theories and try and get the most points off of that, and then you can go and sell. You present them at the very end of the game in a like a competition. What makes this game super cool is you gather ingredients and you scan these 2 ingredients with an app, and it tells you what it makes, and there's deduction throughout this game. So if you do a crow's foot and a raven feather, and that tells you it's a positive blue, then you take a positive blue and you put it in your chart, and now you know that crow's foot and raven create a positive blue, so you can deduce, oh, well, all the negative blues, it can't possibly be that. Eventually, and you'll never find out all of them, but you'll find out probably 2 or 3, maybe 3 if you're really good, for sure 3 of the symbols. So it'll be like positive blue, negative red, negative green. And then you're like, oh, I know this for sure, so I'm going to go publish a theory, and these are through worker placement actions. And I will take my golden ribbon and place that face down on the crow thing, because that's what it is. That's what I know it to be. And people can endorse you and be like, yeah, I bet he knows what that is. And they can publish and hope you're right. Or they can disprove your theories because they're like, no, I have something different. And then you get shamed and you lose points. And there's a little reputation meter. It is just so much fun. I don't think it's as brain-burning base game. I don't think it's brain-burning. But it is thinky, but it's not impossible. There can only be one of 2 things whenever you're scanning stuff. So, and what I've done, and this is why you can possibly get 3, is you can look at what other people are like theorizing, and you can look at your sheet and be like, oh, they have something that I don't, because they must have been working on it, so I'll mark these. I've guessed and endorsed ones that I had no, I didn't research myself, but other people were working on. So it's just a very, very solid worker placement game. They have an expansion which is not needed, because I personally don't think that you could find this game too easy unless this is like one of the only games you have,
right.
And you're playing it over and over and over and over. But the expansion adds where you can animate a golem.
Yeah.
That one took me probably we tried playing it, and it was 4 of us, and none of us got it. We had no idea how this worked. I had to sit down with the app and the cards and just dummy run it to finally figure out what it meant.
Right.
And at this point, this is how bad it is. Even though I did that, I'm pretty sure I would have to go watch my own How to Play to remember how they did it. But they added a bunch of neat stuff that you can, it's just modules that you can add to the base game. So there are some in the base game that I think are needed. And the golem is fun once you do figure out how to animate it. But goddamn, it is just, that is like, So, Alchemist is awesome. I love it. I don't think I'll ever get rid of it. So that's my 43.
All right, my 43 was 65.
Damn.
Last time, so a 22-point jump, and it's because of an expansion.
Okay.
That I recently got. And it is Nations the Dice Game.
Okay. They released an expansion. Yeah.
It's called the Unrest expansion. So pretty much what it does is it adds another dice color. It adds green dice, and it also gives you more boards, because in the base game you had like Egypt and Rome and Athens and whatever, like the deal. But now what this adds is it adds more of those base boards.
Mm-hmm.
But what's cool about it is each of those base boards now has a special ability.
Oh, okay.
So I think Mongol is one of them. So it may start out with, because in the base game you had 5 white dice, and you start out with a coin, a reroll, and maybe a food or something. I can't remember right off the top of my head. But each one of these now start different. One of them may start with only 4 dice, but maybe 4 gold or something. It mixes it up.
Yeah, that's nice.
And then having the green dice adds another way of getting stuff in. it's neat. It's cool because it adds more tiles,
Yep.
which that was what that game needed because I played
Needed
it a ton,
variation
and you start seeing some of the
like
same
the
tiles,
unique player powers. That's cool.
and stuff. So it adds more of that stuff, and it was just what that game needed. It just needed a little bit more to keep it up there. And plus, it plays excellent solo. So I love playing that one solo as
Have
well.
you played the board game for Nations?
I tried it,
Okay.
but I didn't make it very far because I was
Gotcha.
tired. We started playing it a little late one night.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Well, I've heard Nations is a streamlined Through the Ages. Tom Bassel loves Through the Ages at 2. I've played it at 4, and it's like, it's 2 hours, per person.
But I don't, like I had played Nations the dice game before I played Nations.
Okay.
It has the same art style and everything, but I was like, I don't need to be playing this.
Yeah.
You know, the dice game does well enough.
Okay, awesome. So, 42. My 42 is new to the list, and I think it came out in 2017. This game is so obscure, not that it's like that people don't know it, but its theme is super obscure, that it's either you're going to love it or you're going to hate it, and it is Fog of Love. Obviously, it's my 42, so Fog of Love, if you don't know, was made by a designer who wanted to make a board game for his wife, and I believe he's a psychologist. Don't quote me on that part, but I do know the wife part is true, and it is literally about a relationship. And you create a character, and it's a 2-player game, and your person you're playing with also creates a character, and you go through these scenarios trying to feel each other out and because you have these like ambitions, I think is what they're called, that you need compassion to be super high, and so you're trying to get these, and you're playing these cards, trying to role play with the other player to get them to react a certain way, but so it's like like one of them is you play a scenario card and it's like, and I like to role play it out, and it's like, hey honey, I know we're having this party this Friday night, do you care if my ex comes? And you have these 4 options that, because they're trying to sway their own stuff, so they can be like, they're trying to be like super headstrong and like controlling,
right.
And they can choose like, you have A, B, C, and D, and you secretly choose them. And they can choose D, which is like, hell no, why would you even think that, which will cause like empathy to go down or something. I'm literally making all this up, except the X thing, that is a true card. And you could be all easygoing, and you're like, sure, and so you're picking something. And then you flip them, and they're, pretty much opposite. So if it's like, if you both chose A and D, then you're love, which is, it's not love, it's, oh man, I can't remember what, it's not, I know it's not love, but it's like, satisfaction, how satisfied you are in the relationship. It's like, it goes down by 4. So then towards the end of the game, you go through these scenarios, and you can choose how you want the relationship to end. And you have these goals and stuff like that. You win if you get your cards right and the tracks correct, but I think this game is so much fun. Like, I can see why people would hate this game, because it's more of an activity. So it's fucking everything. But I can also see people trying to play this with their significant other and getting into arguments. I can see like that X scenario, them playing it, and that happened to them in real life, and they get into a real life fight. So it's so unique. I love it. The one Kat and I did for the channel was we were high school sweethearts. So you can role play that out, and there's certain, the cards that you draw for scenario are geared towards that, and then there's a bunch of other ones, and you just make up your own name, and you get your own attributes, and then your partner and the person you're playing with picks a attribute of yours that cause them to, why they're attracted to you, and it can just be hilarious. I think it's so much fun. So Fog of Love.
All right.
My 42.
My 42 we talked about a little bit. It wasn't your choice.
Oh, okay.
We talked about it a bit. It fell 6 spots from 36. It is 51st State Master Set.
Oh, all right.
Which I already said earlier that I like Imperial Settlers more, so
yeah.
Spoiler. But this one is on here. I like playing it solo. Nobody else likes the theme enough to play it.
That's fair.
With me, so I just do the solo stuff. But it does, just like you said with Imperial Settlers. I mean, your civilization thing has the little
divider,
and you set your basic or your deal. It's the exact same game, just a
Yeah.
different theme, really.
Yeah.
I mean, and they don't have as many expansions for it. Like I
Yeah,
have
I'm pretty sure they
Scavengers,
abandoned
a
it.
little bot. Well, no, there's another. There's
Is there another one?
There's actually a faction expansion that's going to be coming out. They talked about it at there was an email that came out from Portal talking about the upcoming projects, and they have one with the deal. So I was like, all right, perfect.
Cool.
But there was a Scavengers little card expansion that did stuff too. But I like it. It's a good step away because I played Imperial Settlers so much back in the day that I like this because of the theme. Plus, I like post-apocalyptic stuff. So it was kind of neat. You know, I'd never played the old original 51st State because it was just really icon heavy stuff. But it's just a good one. I mean, it's one that I think the rulebook's actually decent for this one from Portal.
I think the rulebook is decent. It's like weird. They must have different writers, where it's like, hey, we don't really want this game to do well. Let's have Jonathan write it, and he's not really that bright.
Yeah.
But anyway, we want this to do well, so let's put all our best people on it.
Yeah. So I mean, it would go with the theme, depending on which theme you like more. It's the same game.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's virtually the same game.
Yeah.
If you like post-apocalyptic, choose that over Imperial Settlers.
If you like not post-apocalyptic.
Right.
All right, cool. So, my 41 and last one for this segment is brand new to the list. It is pretty much a brand new game. This game for sure will go higher because I have now played it more. It's Folklore: The Affliction. So, we just finished the first chapter. Not the first chapter, the first story. So, the tutorial one, pretty much. And we did our discussion for it. So, Folklore, actually the first one, the first chapter, because it had 2 chapters in the first thing, and we broke it up. So, the first chapter is actually on the channel today.
Awesome.
So, and my friends love it. They are like, literally, we were playing Arkham. A friend of mine came over last night. We were playing Arkham Horror, the card game. He's like, anytime we're gonna do Folklore again, and I'm like, yes, for sure. And this game, it's so weird because our discussion, there's so much to this, and
a lot of stuff.
it is a very fiddly game. Just in terms of because there's so much to it. Like, they're constant changing of things, which I love. I thought I was going to hate it with, battle menu, okay, here's this. But it's not that bad if you look through the chapter beforehand. You're like, these are the ones I'm going to need. And you just have those set aside. And I did that for chapter 2. I had the map set aside and the monsters set aside, so I wasn't digging through it in the moment. This theme is fantastic. It will most likely be higher on your list. But I love that gothic horror theme that, funny enough, not a lot of games do it.
Right.
I love the unique characters that you can play as. I'm playing the Illusionist.
Yeah.
His name's the Great Gangini. He is very flamboyant. And I love how you have 2 schools, pretty much, that you can choose, and that will affect your leveling up.
Yeah, their tree.
Your tree.
Tech tree thing.
I have the player mats over there, which is a must. The worst thing about this game is their dumbass health, Vita and power trackers.
Yeah, you need to buy
I don't know how
ones.
someone came up with that idea and he wasn't immediately fired for suggesting it. You need to buy the trackers. Because...
Or use the Gloomhaven ones.
They don't go high enough.
Oh, they don't go high enough?
No, because your health is like 20.
Yeah.
And it can go up to like 40 or something, so... Well, not really. But no, they won't go high enough.
Yeah.
It'd work well for power, but yeah, you need the trackers. And they're cheap, and you can buy them. Luckily, I think all their 2nd edition stuff is now on their website.
Yeah. See, I did the all-in on this, so I got all that jazz. Did you end up getting the 3rd story?
Yes, that's on their website.
Okay.
So I think I have everything now.
Yeah, my favorite part of this game and stuff is the day and night stuff, because the road cards.
Right.
It's different whether it's
Right.
day or night.
Yep.
If you go off road, there's
Go
all
off road.
decks.
There's so much.
You can do whatever
think
you want in the game.
before, because you were talking about it,
Mhm.
and I only had Gloomhaven to compare it to,
Mhm.
and I think Folklore is more D&D than Gloomhaven is to D&D at this point, just because of the little nuances that you can do in this game. You can. There's the day and night cycle. There's the world traveling. There's the choices that you can
The
make.
story of this one.
There's the
so
checks,
good, too.
like the skill checks that you can have.
Mhm.
There's all the equipment you can get. There's the crafting stuff that you can get. It's just, there's so much to this that it's awesome. The percentile dice for combat is great. I will say though, I do very much like the day and night cycle. However, it takes forever to travel.
Mhm.
So it's more. I like it in theory, but whenever it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, all right, draw a card. 1, 2, 3, 4, draw a card. 1, 2, 3, 4, draw a card. It's just kind of lame.
Yeah, but the thing is like, because I mean, like, there's only 3 storybooks in existence right now for it, and I think
Only.
that's well, right. But I'm just saying, like, if you want the game to, if you want to get your money's worth
Yeah.
out of it, that's why I like the road stuff popping in, because
Yeah.
you're doing and the constant
Yeah.
skirmish battles and stuff. It makes the games last longer.
Yeah, for
throughout
sure.
the scenario and stuff, so you're not blowing through the.
Oh, just the
So,
storybook.
Plus,
I
that's how
agree.
you get experience a lot of times is
Okay.
beating the.
Yeah,
things on
and
the
I like the
road.
skirmishes. I like the searching. I wish it was easier to find stuff because it's you have to like roll a 10 on a d10 to find something. I like the skirmishes is awesome because it's just bam, here we go. You don't have to set
Yeah,
up.
and that's
It's
awesome.
The main fights, which you actually don't really have to do depending on your choices.
Right.
It can go and skew.
Really quick on, this isn't gonna really spoil anything. Early in the first deal,
Mm-hmm.
when you go into the like that cave area, and like there's those 2 werewolf creatures that like start right there on top of you.
Yep.
Does that annoy you?
Yes.
Where you can't move
Yes.
and they stay right there?
Yes.
Okay. It won't happen a lot.
Okay.
But that was
You're
one.
talking about in chapter 2 where it's literally a bottleneck.
Yeah,
You have-
and they start right there and you can't move. You just
Yes.
have to sit there and hit.
Yep.
It doesn't happen.
Okay.
I didn't want that. That's why I told you to keep playing.
It did. Okay, it
Because-
was annoying,
Right.
but I luckily as the illusionist I have a way to teleport,
Oh yeah.
so I was
that
able
worked
to teleport behind them, and I was able to at least
Uh-huh.
move away. But yeah, because you can move through your own people,
Right.
but you can't move through them.
Right.
Luckily, there's no attacks of opportunity. But yeah, when I saw that, and I was like, oh, and because they happened to go first too,
Right.
which sucked.
Right.
So
That part annoyed me when I played it.
because
the
it
first
happened
time.
again in the second fight when spoiler, but it's really the tutorial, so not too much. But with the werewolf, the big guy.
The big guy, yeah.
I really wish we were kind of upset that because he starts out human
Mm-hmm.
and he can potentially turn into a big
Yeah,
werewolf.
or turn you guys. Have any of you guys turned?
No, we have not turned yet. But because he did not roll well, luckily. But it was kind of annoying that he didn't have a human mini. We
Yeah.
substituted him because I'm like, he's not going to be this
Oh,
big.
yeah.
So we just subbed him in with one of the wolfmen. But he went first too.
Mhm.
And because Kat had the ring, she kept the ring.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And she had an option, hey, cut your finger off or keep it. And she's
Right.
like, fuck it, I'm keeping it.
Right.
But he bottlenecked them too.
Mhm.
So that was kind of, that was still annoying. Luckily, it all worked out.
Yeah.
However, yeah, the fact that you can't move past them is kind of...
And it'll straighten out more as
Yeah.
you go.
However, like I said, there's just so much to this game. I love the theme. I pretty much had no complaints like that were worth anything. I mean, there's just so much to this game.
The crafting deck is cool
It
inside
is
that.
really cool.
Because if you get certain things, you have a recipe and you can make it.
You
and
go to
stuff,
town.
and
I love how your character has
It's its own spot.
specific
Yeah.
things they can do in town.
Yep.
And one thing I don't like, and it's if you roll a critical 1, which is hard to do, but your weapon breaks.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to find items. So if your weapon breaks, you're like, all right, guys, let's just start over.
You can use your fist, go melee.
A D4. Woo! But yeah, the game's brutal too because it's not easy to heal
Right.
health. And,
Well, and you die, but then you become a ghost.
yeah,
Which I have the ghost miniatures
I do
with
too.
mine. You got the ghost.
I have
too?
everything, man.
There you go.
I have
The
everything.
ghost miniatures are awesome because they're like that translucent blue,
Yeah.
like the ghost. But then if you don't get heal enough time that you go into limbo.
Yep.
And then you have to go to some.
You actually have to be completely revived, but you
Yeah.
have a spirit points. I didn't read anything about on death. I was like, I'll read it if it happens.
Yeah.
But you have like, it's like your spirit like line still to your body, so they can still heal you and save you. But if that gets severed, then yeah, they have to like go and. But like, so we're playing with the Illusionist, which is me. The Madman is my friend. The Exorcist and the Witch Hunter are our four. So we actually got a pretty good. We got DPS. We got kind of. I do some like spells. We have our Exorcist, which is our healer, and we have our range.
Right.
So we have a pretty good team. But man, yeah, they have their freaking range or ammunition, where it's like, so we need to get Cat like a sword because you can't rely on your ammo. But yeah, the powers, the abilities, it's phenomenal. If you want a game that is like D&D without the DM, at this point, this is probably your closest game.
Yes. I'm glad that it's on your list because I've been talking this game up for a long time.
At least a year.
And
well, because it never came out. Like
no, I know. Yeah.
And then like so they do some design choices that I'm like, okay, but yeah, I have the metal big day night. It's just like bam. Yeah, our the people we're playing with, Kat and Josh and Devin, they love it. Yeah. In fact, just to tell you guys how much they love it, Devin was in my Scythe campaign. He's been doing Arkham Horror with me for a long time. He's doing Gloomhaven with me, and he's doing Folklore. Well, it's becoming difficult to get him to come over to do these, and I'm like, hey, you're in these four. If you had to drop any, which ones do you want to drop? And I expected him to stay in Gloomhaven and Arkham Horror because he raves about those. He chose Gloomhaven and Folklore.
Wow.
He's like, I really like Folklore. So I'm surprised he dropped out of Arkham Horror. So that's my 41. Right. Sorry, Folklore, The Affliction. I told you this was going to be a good list.
Yeah, it's good. Well, it's going to be even better right now.
Right now, whenever I say Folklore at 41.
No.
No,
that game. So this one was number 17.
Okay. How is it better? It's going to be better right now.
It's 41 now, so I guess that's what, 24 spot drop. And at that time, I've only played this game once over the past 2 years, probably. It was with you.
Damn.
But
the past 2 years?
It's going to be playing. I'm going to start playing a lot more because the other guys want to try it.
Okay.
Spartacus, a game of blood and treachery.
I hate that game. I hate it. I hate it so much. I was in such a bad mood playing that.
It's just, I think, you should be quiet, but it's a really cool game. It's like, because you have the freedom to do almost anything you want. You can screw people over, you can trade anytime you want, you can do anything like that. There's auction phases, so you're getting slaves and gladiators and equipment for your gladiators to be able to use in the arena.
Things did not go my way.
You can pick different, like you have a special ability with whatever Dominus you pick, and then at that point you go through the market phase, you go through all this crap, and then you have the event phase where you're playing stuff, trying to either interfere with the other people's stuff, help yourself, whatever. And then there's also cancel cards that are prevalent in the game. You have guard cards that you can kind of use as shields against events coming your way. But then the Dominus, when it gets to be the Colosseum phase, the Gladiator phase, he gets to choose who's going into, he or she gets to choose who's going in there, whoever's hosting the games, I guess I should say.
Right.
Because you have to auction for that too, who's going to have control of the games. Because if you control the games and you get a victory point, because you only need, it can be 8, 12, or 15 victory points to win, whatever, if you want to play long game, short game. And then if you happen to be the person putting on the games, you get to choose who goes into the game. And then they have to put somebody in, whether it's they want to put their badass in there, if they just want to throw a slave in there. But then everybody else that's not battling, even the people in can wager if it's going to be just an injury, or who's going to win, injury, decapitation. If it ends up being an injury, a stalemate type deal with all the dice rolling, the person putting on the games can either go, he lives, kill him. There's a lot in that can even be bet on. Like if I had Gannicus or Gannicus, and I didn't want him to die, I'd be like, here, take 10 gold, don't kill him, and stuff. So there's just a lot of freedom. It's loose as far as not rules, but loose as far as what can happen. You can you're just itching to.
It's really. I mean, I'm not really gonna shit on it. I just have. I mean, I'll let you finish.
No, it's just it's not gonna be everybody's game, like.
So a lot of people are gonna be like, well, it's random.
It's very random. It's very trash.
And I don't mind that. However, and maybe I do mind it. Maybe I'm just lying to myself at this point. However, one, I never won the Dominarius, so I never hosted, so I never got to pick, so I was always fighting. And two, whenever you get the best fucking gladiator at the beginning of the game, you're gonna win. So whenever you got him,
you beat him at the end of the game, though.
You
killed him
the whole game.
I know, but you killed him at the end.
Yeah, that wasn't even the point. You had like 9 points, and we were going to like 10 or something. So it was like, great, I killed him.
Right.
Oh, you already won.
But that's what Midrags, because the games last a long time. But that's what happens. Like when you play it with 3, 4, 5 players, when somebody gets that close, everybody starts teaming up on them. That's what happens. It drags the game out. It's the Kingmaker thing.
And that's so.
But that's what, because you and Kat could have just come at me big time.
No, because I never won. I never won Dominarius, so I couldn't ever.
You could have, but there's ways to work together. Like you guys could have really teamed up. Like,
well, Kat's not fucking strategic.
You could have given her money to outgamble me. You guys could have worked together to.
I never had money.
I know, but I'm just meaning like there's ways that you guys could do stuff to work together.
Whenever, I think it was always between you and Kat. So you always picked me and her to fight, and whenever she won, she always picked me and you. So whenever you had pretty much one of the best gladiators in the game, I'm like, and don't you get a point for every fight you win?
You get favor, and then if he gets enough favor, he gets.
That's right. Yeah. And that's like by like round 2, he was already like crowned or whatever it's called. Yeah. So I was just like, there's nothing we can do. The combat system's not bad though with the dice.
Yeah. The thing with that game is like, and I will tell you, I mean, playing it with 3 players, that's the lowest player count you can play in. I've played with 5 and 6, and it's a really, really long game. Mm-hmm. But when you have that many people,
chances are someone's not going to run away.
Well, because when you're playing it with 3, if somebody wins the Dominus thing to be able to put on the show, the other 2 are probably going to win, unless the one that wins has the best gladiator and wants the favor for winning. So it's like, when there's 5 people, it makes it more spread. Yeah. The games are a lot longer. This is not a short game when you start going, but.
And for sure. And so I think, and I was thinking about that after the game was over. I'm like, this probably is not a 3-player game.
That's the minimum.
Yeah. I would say 4 or 5 would be a good number. So I will try it again, but it has to be 4 or 5 people. Because other than that, God, I was seething. Like, I was very mad throughout that whole game. I was like, can I just shoot myself in the face? So.
Yep. Anyway.
So that's this section, everyone. Lots of that was a long one. But lots of good games. Even more great games coming up. I hope you are enjoying. I'm enjoying talking about these games. Yep. So like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this, and if you like this video, then click the subscribe button below to enjoy any video that I put out. And right next to that subscribe button is a little bell. Click that so you get notified of whenever I actually upload these videos. If you want to support the channel, you can definitely visit my Patreon page. The link is in the description below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.